Welcome to the Larry Hembree pregame show. Tonight I'm talking in the Where Are They Now segment with 1967 Loogootee High School graduate Ken Frye. Kenny, how are you this evening?
Pretty good. How are you, Larry?
I'm just fine. Kenny, you played in 1967. Of course, we know you played for Coach Butcher. Who were some of the ball players on your team there in 1967?
67, we had Pat Pankey and Steve Brett, Ronnie Richardson and Neil Williams were seniors. Jim Nigg, Roger Wildman, and of course Rex Strawn was on the team, and Joe Lekumsky and Cecil Truelove. And we had a freshman by the name of Rex Sager, as you know, went on to do some great things in 1970.
Well, you had quite a cast of characters there to play basketball with in 1967. Kenny, I recall actually, I was probably about 8 years old at the time, but I recall a big holiday tournament down at Jasper that year. You went down and won that tournament, didn't you?
Yes, we did. That was the only time in my high school career that we got to play Jasper, and we played them on their home court, and we were still undefeated at that time. We was able to beat Jasper by, I don't know, probably around 20 points. That was one of the better games that we ever played as a group. Well, that was probably the highlight of my career. Was playing in that game in 1960, the holiday tournament, 66, 67.
What I recall, of course, they were playing in their what would be their old gym now. But what was interesting about that, my memory's a bit vague, but we were playing kind of hold the ball towards the end of the game, weren't we, with them? Or was you firing them up? No,
we were still throwing them up at the end of the game. We had about a 20-point lead, and we just kept going.
Well, I can recall watching you play. You would dribble up and down the court and in the half-court game and handle the ball a lot. It was your team was probably one of my earliest memories of Loogootee basketball. Watching you guys play. Well, Kenny, what was probably one of the most disappointing games you ever played in at Loogootee High School?
I suppose my junior year, we got beat by Washington Hatchets in the final game in overtime, and we missed some crucial free throws down the stretch, and we definitely should have won that basketball game. That was a very heartbreaking one. And then, of course, as you know, the last game you ever play in, your senior year, is a pretty tough take as well.
Who did you play that game?
Bar Reeve. It was Bar Reeve's first year. We beat them handily during the season twice. We played them twice back then, and but when we went in the tournament, Nig and Brett both had bad backs, and if I remember right, Pankey almost had pneumonia, but not trying to make excuses. We lost that ball game, I think, by 3 or 5 or something, but we'd only had one loss that year. We went down to Du Bois and got beat down there. Never forget that game. I was 2 for 17. But we lost that game in overtime, and that was right after the game that we had beat Olytic, which was already undefeated up in the Bedford gym. I guess from the holiday tournament on, when we beat Jasper, we kind of peaked that year and never did really play very well the rest of the year.
You played basketball with Rex Strawn. Rex, what kind of ball player was Rex, as you recall?
Rex was an outstanding basketball player. I hope you don't hear this.
Well, we can edit it out if you want
to.
Okay,
you might want to do that. Rex could jump. He was not very tall, but he had great position, and Rex was a great basketball player.
He was as I've had other people tell me on this program, that he was a good team player, that he would set a pick or do whatever he had to do to help his teammates get in position to score.
Yes, he did. He had what you call a wide body, not quite as wide as he is now, but he could set a screen, and he loved to set screens. He was a great team player. He liked to rebound and play defense, and he loved to set screens just past the 10-second line. He'd kind of motion you to bring your guy right towards him.
Now, I've heard this story from Steve Brett. I don't know whether it's true or not, but he tells a story that Rex Strawn fouled out in the first quarter of a game down at South Knox. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, that was not long after I was gone. That was his senior year. Rex was a senior that year, and I'd already graduated. But yeah, Rex, he actually fouled out the first quarter of a game.
Kenny, when you left Loogootee, or when you graduated, what did Kenny Frye do over the next several years? And of course, we know. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been up to?
Well, I went to Indiana State University and graduated from there, and met my wife there. Then I worked in Indianapolis at what was called Indiana National Bank. I think it's part of Bank One now, which my son now works for. Worked there for a few years, and then I came home and took over the family farm for a few years. And the last 11 years I've been working for Davis Martin REMC, the rural electric company here in town.
Kenny, you had, of course, you had a boy that played basketball as well. I was trying to think, and in fact, this conversation came up a while back. Are there any other combinations of father-sons that's played for Jack Butcher that you're aware of?
Yeah, Roger Wildman.
Roger Wildman, right, and Jeremy.
And, well, I guess Steve Downey didn't play for Jack, but his son did. And, of course, Rex.
And Rex, right.
Rex. Other than Rex and Roger, I can't think of any, but
may have been.
Jack's been here many years. I'm sure there probably has been some others.
Well, what was it like as a parent, watching your son play and go through what he went through, knowing what you had been through it before? How did you handle that as a parent?
Well, I think that was a plus, knowing that what he was going through, and I don't think Jack has changed a whole lot over the years. He's still in charge, and as he should be as a coach, as the head coach, and it was a great experience. Well,
now Jack had in the old gym where you played at. Upstairs was his office. His infamous office was upstairs. And what was the name you guys had for that office of his up there?
I think we called it the Hot Box.
Did you ever spend any time in a hot box?
Of course. I don't know of anyone that ever went through a basketball program here that didn't go through it at least once.
Well, I was talking to Coach Butcher a while back, and he had no idea you guys called that the Hot Box till not very long ago, actually. And or at least he was cleverly had forgot about it. But what was it like from your perspective playing basketball under Coach Butcher in the mid and late '60s there?
Well, I had watched people like Bill Nigg and Bill Wright, Virgil Harper, and people of that nature. And of course, Junior G. He was a senior when I was in the 8th grade, and that was a great experience. I just wanted to be able to go to the line. And I got that opportunity when I was a freshman, and that was the only year that we actually won the sectional, that I was on the team. But I'd never take it back.
That was been Bill Drake's senior year?
That's correct. Bill Drake and Dave Strickland and Bob Haynes were seniors that year.
I see. Kenny, did you come out of Rutherford Township?
Yes, I did.
All right. And at what grade did you come to Loogootee from going to school down there?
I was freshman.
You're a freshman, so you actually played junior high basketball in Rutherford?
Oh, no.
No? Okay, so...
No, when I was a freshman, it was the first year that I played any kind of organized sport of any type.
Really? And you walked in and made the high school varsity team at that time then. What did you know for a long time you wanted to play basketball, or is it something you just thought you would try when you came down? How did that come about, waiting that long to be in organized sports?
Oh, no, I played, had a basketball goal out in the barn and played from time I was able to get the ball up to the goal. Just like any kid does,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Kenny, listen, it's been great talking to you. I have to ask you one more question. Now, again, as a young kid growing up, you mentioned you always wanted to be a Loogootee Lion. Was there any players in particular that were like your hero, or you were interested in when you were growing up that you wanted to emulate, or you know what I'm talking about in terms of Loogootee player? Yeah, I do. Probably Bill Wright and, of course, Junior G. I wanted to be a guard, and
I figured whenever I got up there, I wasn't going to be tall enough to play forward or center, of course, and Bill Wright and Gary Lamar was also a favorite of mine.
I do recall one time living at Mitchell, they used to have some big AAU basketball games, and you came up and actually played with Junior G on a team a year up there, didn't you?
Yeah, that was my first or second year at college. Junior and Howard Pratt and Bill Drake and several guys. There was a fellow by the name of Howard Williams that played for University of Evansville. We played up there, and in the final game, we won the thing, and in the final game, I broke my wrist. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I do recall that. Well, listen, Kenny, we're out of time, but again, of course, it's always nice to talk to you guys. I certainly remember when you played as a youngster, and about the time you started playing, and maybe your last year up through Bryan, Canada, yourself and Bryan, Canada, and Jim Trout, and of course Paul Bruner, who was my cousin, were guys that I've always admired playing basketball. And it was just great talking to you again tonight, and hey, I wish you the best of luck.
Well, thanks a lot, Larry. Appreciate talking to you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
All right, welcome back to the Larry Hembree pregame show.